Okay, so should be live everywhere. Let's make sure I've got the old chat pulled up. Maybe, baby. Anyway, where did my info go? Here it is. All right, got that over here. All right, here we go. So finally back to painting. We're gonna get some painting done tonight. I've been super busy at work, super exhausted, and because I'm so particular on how I paint my stuff, I've been too tired to do painting. But that is fine tonight. So we're going to get back to painting this dreadnought. I finally got it primed. Ooh, look, it's so beautiful. TikTok is being fucking stupid. So I'm going to be irritated with TikTok because it community guidelined a video of plastic. You know, these pieces of plastic got community guidelined. Why? It's plastic. Just let me do my freaking videos. So annoying. Get your shit together, TikTok. I'm allowed to paint plastic minis and show pictures of my plastic minis without you community guidelining my channel or my page or whatever you want to call it on TikTok. So annoying. Anyway, rant out of the way. We're going to get to painting our dreadnought friend here. About time I get back to painting. Thank you for the follow, Chris. Much appreciated. Sorry, I was going on a little rant for a second there. A recent video I posted saying I'm finally going to start painting again got community guidelined by TikTok, and all it was is a picture of these little pieces of plastic. So frustrating. Doing Gene Stealers? Cool. Yeah, I finally finished my Crusader squad. I'm doing a Black Templar army. Finally got my Crusader squad done. Minus the sword brother that I put together wrong. So I'm going to have to get another 10-man Crusader squad to get a sword brother out of it. 20 left out of the 60 star. Yeah. That's why I can't play a horde army. There's just so many minis. Say that 3 times fast. So many minis. To paint. Like, I would love to do an orc army, but I just don't want to sit there and be painting orc after orc after orc and knob and whatever. There's so many. Anyway, let's get this started. Basically, I'm going to go from the ground up on this guy, start on the base, and then work my way up his legs and whatnot. Trying to make sure my paint is mixed up. But this particular pot of paint is super old, so it's gotten a little thicker. So I'll get some on the wet palette here, and then we'll work on thinning it out. Like 10,000 point armies? That's ridiculous, especially if each of you owns your own. Like, I played back in 5th edition and participated in an apocalypse game at a local game store. And they're just, everybody was pulling out everything they had, just piece after piece after piece, just like so many tables shoved together in this game store to be able to play that game. It was a sight to behold, I will say that. But anyway, like I said, we're starting on the base here. Doing some Gothor Brown is what I start for my muddy ground. Got some little chunks of cork on the base here, but we're gonna get, a good coat of paint all the way around. Not being super careful with this yet, just trying to get it covered. And then we'll go through and we'll do a wash and then some dry brushing after that. But definitely excited about starting to get some paint on this guy. It probably took me 9 hours to put this thing together, I think, all said and done. It took a while. This is the first dreadnought I've ever done. I played Necrons in 5th edition, so I've got some super old minis. Like the original Tomb Spiders, the original Monoliths that you can't find anymore. But when Space Marine 2 came out, I was like, oh, I gotta build another 40k army. And the Black Templars just seemed like my jam, so that's what I'm working on, is the Templar army. So when we get to the point of actually painting the dreadnought, it will not be a giant blueberry. Like, if you play Tau, you must really like Gundam. Or you used to like Gundam. But no, Tau had some cool minis. I'm so bad at the names of the units, firewalkers, and I don't know. Their mobile suits looked cool. From a friend while we were deployed. Where were you deployed, and what branch did you serve with? Just out of curiosity. Army, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Ain't ready for Marines yet. You're watching an old jarhead. I deployed back in, oh god, what was that? 2003, back when everything was getting kicked off into Iraq. Did about 6 months deployment in Kuwait and Iraq. Thank you for the follow, Reese. Much appreciated. Sadar City. Not sure where that was. I was in Camp Fox and Camp Coyote in Kuwait. While I was deployed, I ended up being attached to a military police unit because they were short bodies. I was a heavy equipment mechanic. Did MSR patrols. We had a few guys go all the way up to Baghdad. I didn't go that far up. Mostly stayed in the rear with the gear. Baghdad area of operations. Yeah, we did cannon cocker artillery. Yeah, like I said, I was a heavy equipment mechanic, but when I deployed, I was an MP doing post and convoy security. We kept kids out of the road in Safwan was the main place we operated, so trucks could get through, because that was the main crossing going into Iraq from where we were stationed in Kuwait. Like I said, that was many, many moons ago. But I hope you made it back with all your fingers and toes attached. We had a couple of guys who weren't so fortunate. But some of them picked things up off the ground that they should have left on the ground. I saw you pop in here, Creed. I know you're watching. Good evening. 2 extra hearts, lost 7 brothers. Yeah, we didn't have any casualties that severe in my unit. I did, lose a friend over there that I'd known for, many, many years. I got contract PFC because him and another buddy joined the Marines. Yeah, I finished a little early today. I'm training a new driver. I will have fun with the Command and Conquer. I'm finally getting around to actually painting my dreadnought. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, what happened with quite a few people I knew. We had some that, just couldn't handle the stresses and rigors of daily life, coupled vehicle accidents. I mean, just life that happens. Yeah, definitely take your time assembling this thing. I think it took me like 9 hours. Yeah. Painting minis is, because it's kind of a, focusing thing, definitely helps, take your mind off of, what's going on in the world around you and things that kind of stress you out. I mean, I definitely enjoy my painting time. Yeah, when you're doing, I mean, you can see all the parts of the dreadnought scattered across my desk. Um, Mostly because of how much detail I paint on my minis, because it's like I know on the legs here, when you put it together, it's like you have, is that the right side? Probably not. It's like you have this piece that goes over the top, and then you've got another piece that goes over the side. So to be able to paint all the detail under that, I just leave it disassembled at first. Chano Vega, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. But I said, for my recommendation for painting is, when you're starting to put the model together, look for those extra little detail bits that you're not going to be able to get to if it's fully assembled while you're putting it together, and be like, okay, I don't want to put that together yet. And so that's kind of what I do. Farm over the winter, painting and building, kept that same energy going. Yep. Unfortunately, I got a lot going on at work right now. We're moving into a new warehouse, so I've been like super tired and haven't had a lot of extra free time. And when I'm super tired like that, I don't like painting, because I know I'll mess something up and it'll frustrate me, and then I'll get mad, and things don't always stay in one piece when I'm mad. Well, I hope you enjoyed your bottle of adult grape juice there, Creed. Have a good night. Oh, man. Hold on a second. What is going on? Okay. Sorry, I've got multiple chat windows up. Well, see, then you got plenty of time to paint. If you're 100%. I think I'm at 20% due to, some hearing loss, tinnitus, and I jacked up my shoulder while I was in. Yeah, have a good night, Creed. I think he's already gone now. Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't, well, fortunately, I guess I should say, I only got a 20% rating. So, but unfortunately, I still have to work. But even if I was a higher rating, I would still have to have something to do. I'm not one to just sit around and do nothing. I have to stay active as best I can. Like, even if I was in, a wheelchair scooting myself around, I'd be doing something. I'd probably also do something stupid like figure out how to ride a motorcycle. Still in a wheelchair. I know people do it. I've seen it online. I would do it too, because riding a bike is just way too much fun. Yeah, gotta stay busy with something. It's always a good thing. This is such a big base. That's what I liked about the monolith. You only had to paint the model. You didn't have to have an extra base to do with it. Keep your hands busy, keep your mind busy. Yep. Keep doing something. Yeah, I see those, compilation videos, the arty guys, firing off the howitzers and stuff, and you always think, man, that would suck if you were that one unfortunate guy that didn't step back when he pulled that string and took that thing straight to the chest. That'd be a bad day for sure. Yeah, I got an old, like, see the having South Korean soldier? Yeah. I'm sure you can. I just, don't want to necessarily see that. But, oof. Talk about getting kicked. That would suck so bad. I got an old German Shepherd. He's like 12 years old. He's a giant couch potato now. And we just got, we think she's a Rhodesian Ridgeback puppy that a coworker found on the highway on his way to work. So we're trying to get her trained to do, some basic things. Yeah. No, those big guns when they come back are no joke. And you got to think there's some of that action, inside a tank, and I mean that's a tiny little box for that much fast movement all of a sudden. So you got to be paying attention to what you're doing in there. See, there you go, heavy tracked. Yep. Big minis use lots of paint. And boxes painted on our mats where to be at. Yeah, I'm sure you did. Like, do not enter this area. It will not feel good. If you are dumb enough to stand here, you deserve everything that happens to you. Yeah. Yeah, I think that is one area where I don't mind there being, warning labels. Hey, don't do that. In a lot of other areas, I say, take the warning labels off of everything and let stupidity sort itself out. Because I think we need it at this point. Oh, one of the joys of having pets. There's a dog hair on my mini. Stuck in the paint somewhere. It'll be fine. Might actually have to get another bottle of Gothor Brown if I keep this up. Going through a lot of paint on this base. I don't think I've ever found hair in any of my 3D prints, but I've got a couple old Ender 3 Pros, so I don't think a hair would really even matter in those. Now, if I had a resin printer, I'm sure I'd end up finding like dog hair, cat hair stuck in those. Saturn 4 Ultra, yeah, I need to. I keep trying to convince the missus into letting me get a resin printer, mostly because like doing minis now. Like before I got it, just because of, like trying to print cosplay armor stuff. I've done a few things. I've got like a Cade 6 helmet that I printed that turned out really good. And then never finished it. I finished it, but I never ended up, finishing the lights in it. Yeah, but can you imagine what you would get if the military issued you a spouse? I shudder at the idea. Like, oh, this one's good enough. It's military grade. They come from the Air Force. I don't know. There's a couple of sailors that might like seeing you in the Navy. Keep your women's department. Yeah. Well, you know what Marine stands for. My ass rides in Navy equipment. Oh, but they get so butthurt. Call them squids or anchor clankers. It's like, yeah. We all like dogging on each other. It entertains us. Master Gun's brat. Trying to think, I mean, I think most of my Master Guns went, the couple that I came across were good guys. Now, being in a maintenance battalion, we had a lot of warrant officers, and warrant officers don't give a shit about anything. It is very entertaining watching an annoyed warrant officer with a boot Louie trying to tell him what to do. Oh, yeah. You know, Master Guns would expect more of their own kids than the ones that they have to babysit in their shops. 0328, can't remember his MOS. Oh, and if he's an infantry Master Guns, I am sorry. Oof, that would be rough. Especially from, back in the day, Master Guns. If he's your grandpa, oof, I can imagine that'd be rough. Of course, oh, Carlos Hathcock. See, I know my Marine Corps history. It was beating my head severely. Like, you have to know who White Feather is. Yep. Fun factoid. Lee Harvey Oswald was a Marine. The range that he qualified on was shut down for years. When I was in boot camp at MCRD San Diego, they had just reopened the range that Lee Harvey Oswald had qualified on, and that's where I did my rifle qualification on. Unfortunately, my first time out, got a sharpshooter. Then the second time I went to the range, I just didn't have my settings properly on my rifle and pizza boxed. I was so annoyed. But right before I got out, I got my expert like I was supposed to. Hey, Horde, how's it going? Yep, Hollywood Marine. That's where the real Marines are made. Had to do the crucible up Mount Motherfucker. we don't sit there and complain about little bugs biting us. The sand fleas at Paris Island. Sand fleas. Doing all right, Horde. Doing all right. Finally getting around to putting some paint on this dreadnought, or at least his base. Gotta start somewhere. But it's such a huge mini, so this is gonna take me a while. I think I started about 20-30 minutes ago, 31 minutes ago according to TikTok, and I'm almost done with my first coat on the base, and I'm probably gonna have to go over some spots. Still gotta do the def dread. Yeah, gotta get that wah going. Wah. But I am saying, I am liking how the cork and the texture paint turned out on this mini. Never used cork on a base before. I'd seen it plenty of times, so this is my first time attempting it with the texture paint. No, I mean, I'm finally getting back to painting. Unfortunately, I've been super busy and super exhausted at work, so I've been kind of streaming video games for the last week, and also this last week I had to be an adult because we're planning our vacation for the year, so we've been on Zoom calls with friends, planning what we want to do on our vacation, because we are going to the new we're going to the new Universal Park that just opened up in Florida this year for our vacation, so we are super excited about that. You cast Lost Piece. Fortunately, all of my pieces will stay on my desk unless my cat comes up here, and then I will cast Lost Cat through the window. Yeah, definitely looking forward to the new park. And 3 event relevant warrior hikes this year for my vacation. Yeah, I need to do some more. I mean, not that walking around, major theme parks is not outdoor exercise, because because I have a Garmin watch. My record for most steps ever in a day was at Disneyland in California. Like 23 or 24,000 steps in one day. Is ridiculous, because we were there from open to close that day. We didn't even intend to be. That's just how it ended up working out. But I definitely got my steps in that day. But I'd also like to do things like Tough Mudder or something like that. I'd do some of those kind of event hikes. Before the pandemic shut everything down for 2 years, I was getting in shape to do a triathlon, and then never ended up doing it. I should probably put that back on my list of stuff to do. Relevant Warriors just vets. I don't know why they would call it an irrelevant warrior, because veterans are not irrelevant by any means. I mean, sometimes we feel like we are, but it's one of those things. But yeah, there's just so many things I want to do. I currently have an Electroglide Ultra Classic motorcycle, but I'm getting tired of picking that heavy thing up. So I've been looking at adventure bikes, and so I'd like to do like a big motorcycle trip at some point. Especially on an adventure bike, go do some off-road adventures. I think that would be cool. And I've got an old Marine buddy that has a Tiger 1200, I think, adventure bike. So might have to plan something with him at some point when I finally make the leap from touring bike to adventure bike. So I have too many hobbies and they're all expensive. It's annoying. We're just gonna go another quick round around this base. Trying to get a little more brown on any spots that look overly gray. And then we're going to unleash a bottle of Agrax Earthshade on this. That way we can get some differences in colors and draw out some detail before doing some dry brushing. The amount of wash I'm going to have to do on this thing is going to be considerable. But once I get the dirt done under his feet, then we can start painting the Mini itself. And there are going to be some interesting places to get to with a paintbrush, I can tell already. We are going to get this thing painted. I know this is going to take me several sessions to get done. So we're in for the long haul on this guy because it is such a big model compared to like your standard Space Marine. Just massive. That's what she said. Anyway. And I think we've got enough good coverage with that. So we'll take some time to thoroughly rinse our brush. Although I'm using a small dry brush is what this is classified as. So I'm not as concerned with messing it up. Even though it is one of my more expensive brushes. It's an actual army painter one. Most of what I use is cheap Hobby Lobby brushes because they work and they're cheap to replace when I mess one of them up. I think we're good on that. So we're going to give that a little time to dry before slinging Agrax Earthshade all over it. Fortunately, these paints don't take too terribly long to dry. But I do know I'm going to go through a lot of Abaddon Black on this mini. But I hope everybody hopping in and out's having a good night tonight. I appreciate you stopping by and watching. We're currently watching paint dry as I wait until I can do a wash on this thing. And then we'll have to sit and watch paint dry for longer. But making some progress on the terrain. Just first coat, so everything's very blending into each other. Not a lot of detail yet, but you know, as we do the washes and some dry brushing, you'll start to see a lot more detail on there. Broke 5 off their bases. Like your gene stealers that you're working on, or just minis in general? I think you said you were working on gene stealers. I don't think I've broken anything off of its base yet. I've broken parts off of minis. One of my neophytes, I took him down to the local game store. Of course, this is an initiate. Took him down to the local game store while I was painting some of the initiates, and his damn sword broke. I was so upset. I'm like, oh, really? Fortunately, I got the sword glued back together. I use... just had to find it on my desk. Use the actual plastic cement, the Tamiya extra thin, for gluing the minis together and gluing them to the bases so they melt together properly. Oh, thank you, Amy. I don't know if you're talking about the dreadnought or the, initiate that I was holding up, but kind of hard to see. Oh yeah, plastic to resin, you got to use super glue. But yeah, this is my first time using cork on a base, just trying some things out. Thank you for the follow, the man who erased his name. Appreciate it. Like I've seen, plenty of other minis where they've used cork on there, and then also use this AK natural texture rough terrain. This stuff is awesome. Okay, I think we're probably dry enough to start slinging some wash on here. It'll be all right. Oh, thank you for the lightning bolt. I don't know what that does. I don't know what any of the gifts are or what they do, but I appreciate everything you guys send me. Thank you so much. And I don't know when you sent that. I'm sorry, I missed it. Green flock, if you like the terrain stuff. Hold on a second. I have minis everywhere. Alright, this one might be a little bit easier to see, but like this is some Citadel green flocking. This is from the it's just a diorama kit that I used on this one, and then some army painter shrubs. But yeah, the wife and I did these little guys for a local game store painting contest a couple months ago. They should have another. They should have another paint take-home paint contest before too long. I think next month. They did an in-store speed painting one, but it's a couple hours drive. Thank you for the follow, Amy. From Gamer's Grass. Okay, I'll have to, like, one of our local game stores in the next town over just has tons and tons of basing stuff that I need to go and check out. That's where I got the rough earth texture. And that stuff has looked amazing on my minis. Like all my old Necrons, they're in a box somewhere. Or, well, they're in my army bag, which I can't really get to right now. But I didn't know what I was doing years ago when I was painting them. So they're all just, glued to the base with flock all around them. So very boring basing on them. But that's what happens when you first get into a hobby like this. You don't know what you're doing. And you do little silly things like that. You do the most basic of basic for your basing. But folks seem to like them when I put them on the tabletop, so I'm not going to complain too much about it. But let's get the Agrax shade spread around on here. Of course, this is going to take a while to dry too, unfortunately. That hurry up and wait on everything that I do. But yeah, the Gothor Brown with some Agrax Earthshade over it, then you dry brush with some Steel Legion Drab, makes great dirt. Unfortunately, when you're streaming, a hairdryer over a microphone, when you have people that wear headsets, is not pleasant for them. So I tend to avoid that. And I like to be considerate of the viewers. But yes, there are times where I want to hurry up and do something, so I will do things in a manner that are more conducive to quicker results. But I love doing basing on the minis, like unique basing, because it doesn't matter what you do, especially with like the AK textures, or like now trying to use these cork pieces. It's like no two models will ever be identical. I mean, you can't reproduce it exactly. Every single one of them is unique, just because of how you do the basing on it. So you've got that personalization thing. Actually, I started out, like, when I was, starting doing streaming, I was mostly playing video games. So it's like, you can't see it over here, but I have like my gaming desktop with like 3 huge monitors over here. It's ridiculous. Like, you can go through my TikTok page and find a video of it. I spent way too much time putting together my gaming setup, and now I spend more time painting minis than I do playing video games, and I don't regret it. I love painting minis. I'm so glad. I'm so thankful for Space Marine 2 coming out because A, it's such a fun game, and B, it got me back into the hobby of painting the minis. Uh, because I've been having so much fun painting these guys. Uh, and uh, between, you know, 5th edition when I played and now, like, they've put out so many different new sculpts of the models. They've done the Primaris thing. They've made things bigger. The models are just, they were cool before, but now they're just so much cooler. And I love it. Yeah. And, you know, of course, here I am, like, you know, 42 years old, acting like a giant kid, you know, painting little pieces of plastic. And Sisters of Battle have some of the coolest minis. I'm sorry, the Exorcist tank is one of the best models ever. Love it. Okay, over on where you at? Twitch, I think. So, because I'm streaming everywhere. Evening Mortals, Mutants, and Misguided Corpse Worshippers. How are you doing, Remnant of Chaos? Working on a Marble Sisters Rhino at the moment. So anybody joining on any other platforms, I'm live on Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok all in the same time. So if I don't know where you're commenting from, oh, I guess it's YouTube that you commented from. Sorry, not Twitch, Remnant. You're on YouTube. Thanks for stopping by. I'll be having like 18 different conversations at the same time. It's hilarious. So if I start talking to another random person, that's why. But yeah, I mean, even the Sisters Rhino is cool. I bought my wife an emulator tank, and she hasn't started on it yet. Just like, come on, babe, paint the tank. It's so cool because it's got the big stained glass window on it. The Exorcist has the pipe organ, like rocket launcher tank. That thing is cool. The Morgan Vale is a really cool character mini. Sisters have some cool models. But yes, I'm trying to convince the wife to, you know, start a sisters army. So every once in a while I can steal some of them because I think, I know in some instances, lore-wise, the sisters and the Templars have teamed up because I just think it would be cool to have a detachment of sisters on the tabletop with the Templars. Like I said, I know it loosely happens somewhat in the lore, but I still think it's cool. Mostly because I like their minis. Okay, and now we're back to hurry up and wait. But this one is going to take quite a bit longer because washes stay wet longer because you just kind of pull it on there. But definitely getting some grimy, muddy earth down there. So we will set that to the side while it dries. And I think, start on the main chassis and the sarcophagus. Why? Because I want to. Because that's the best part of the mini, and it's cool. Okay. Grab my... Oh, come on, TikTok. Sorry, TikTok thinks I went away for a second and wants to pause my live. TikTok is mildly annoying when it does that. That is Agrax Earthshade, and I'm not using that right now. I need Abaddon Black. And lots of it. Let's get some paint on the wet palette. Get this thinned out a little bit. Because painting with super thick paint on a tiny mini leaves paint lines and streaks and is annoying. Get some out of our brush here. But for the most part, we're just going to kind of get everything done in here painted black as a base coat, and then work on the colors from there. You can't have anything unpainted back in those recesses, because if somebody happens to pick your model up and look at it, you don't want them seeing the gray primer. Or at least I don't, because I'm picky that way. And when it comes to doing the metallics, because I use metallic paints, I don't do non-metal metal. I mean, I might try it at some point, but oh my god, that is such a massive time sink watching other people do it. I do not have the patience for that. I mean, painting minis takes an immense amount of patience already, but to sit there and do non-metal metal just takes it to a completely different level of no thank you. That's a time commitment that I'm not going to force myself into. Especially to get it right. Like I said, I might experiment with it here and there, but it is not high on my priority list of things to learn. But when you are doing metallic paints, doing metallics over a black like Abaddon Black just makes them look so good, in my opinion. Which is why anywhere where I know I'm going to be doing a metallic, I will automatically paint it black. And there's going to be a lot of things in here that are going to be metallics over it. There are some spots I'm going to try and avoid. I want to try some painting ideas in here. But just trying to get all the little nooks and crannies blacked out. Like some of these tubes I need to try and avoid painting black, because I'm going to paint them white and then use a contrast paint over them to make them look like they're filled with some sort of glowing liquid eventually. And I need to pay attention to my screen better so people can actually see what I'm doing and I'm in the right area for vertical shots. Because while people are scrolling through TikTok, they start in vertical format and then they turn their phone, hopefully, and can get the full viewing experience in landscape mode. I should probably take the picture of the dreadnought off of my little side screen here. Let's see if we can't move this up here. And that keeps me in a more comfortable spot to paint and keeps it in frame better. That works. So, people watching on other platforms probably have no idea what I just did on TikTok. But I had a little picture of the Brutalis dreadnought covering up part of the screen in portrait mode, so I just made it easier to see what I'm doing. Of course, when I'm currently painting everything black, all it does really is hide all the details of what I'm actually doing until I start getting color on the model again. But we'll get there. No, this is going to be a long process. It takes a while. But I did want to start working on the sarcophagus area of the dreadnought. Because I know this is going to be like the main eye-catching section of it, so it needs to be done. Oh, would you go away? Okay, so on Twitch, if you come in my chat and spam viewer bots, your account instantly gets banned from my channel because I don't have time for you and you're stupid. And you probably spend the day huffing farts because you have no life. And that's how I feel about channel spammers. in case anyone was wondering. And I do like having the ability to quickly and easily ban people on Twitch for putting stupid stuff in my chat. And I am very sorry that watching me try and paint the black in around this sarcophagus is not the most exciting thing to watch because it's so tiny and there's parts that you can't see around it. We'll get back to the good stuff eventually. This is just one of those parts of the menu that takes a while. Or I'm assuming takes a while because this is the first dreadnought I've ever done. But I think it's turning out pretty good so far. Really hoping I don't break the Crusader seal off the back of it while I'm painting it. Because I keep feeling my finger catch on this little ribbon thing hanging off the back as I turn this thing around in my hand over and over again. But definitely going to go through a lot of paint on this guy. And no, I don't have an airbrush, so it's going to take even longer because I don't do spray paint. I suppose I could have rattle canned it, black primer, but black primer doesn't look the same as doing the paint by hand. You'll have slight color variations, and I know I'll have to end up going back and touching up paint here and there. So I want all the paint to match as it goes on. So I prime it gray and then work my way around the model, doing all the hand painting that needs to be done on it. Yep, it is a dreadnought. A Brutalis dreadnought at that. And it is going to take me 17 years to paint this thing. Because this is taking forever. No, I used a gray rattle can primer, and now I'm just doing the base color of paint. Because this is for a Black Templar army, so I'm going to be going through a lot of Abaddon black paint. Yeah, I use like a thank you for the follow, Kiana, I think. Sorry if I say your name wrong. I try and pronounce things correctly. But yeah, I'm just getting back into the hobby of painting the minis and stuff, and went with Black Templars for my army, getting back into the tabletop, and saw like some of the sculpts for it's mostly the sculpts for the Templars. Like their minis are so cool looking, and because I'm doing a Space Marine army, I have to have a dreadnought. I'm sorry, if you're playing Space Marines, you need at least one dreadnought. I'm going to have two eventually, but this is the first one I'm doing. And for the Black Templars, a Brutalis dreadnought just fits in with them thematically. They run up and hit stuff. A Brutalis runs up and hits stuff. So Brutalis dreadnought. that and the sculpt for the Brutalis was just such a cool looking model. I mean, obviously it's on screen. Such a cool looking mini. Like, yep, that's gonna happen. Oh, I have a tank to finish, then I finish my dreadnought. I've done an impulsor. Not really a tank, but the more I look at him, it's like, yeah, I want to get a Land Raider Crusader. That would be cool. But I have to work through my existing mound of plastic before I go buy more. I have, was it 5 intercessors left from the combat patrol that I need to paint. I still have the marshal from the combat patrol to paint. I've got my initiates done. I've got my neophytes done. And then after that, or after this, of course, intercessors and the marshal from the combat patrol. I also have Grimaldus sitting on a shelf behind me that needs to be put together and painted. High Marshal Helbrecht is back there. And 1 unit of Sword Brothers is sitting on a shelf behind me in a box ready to be put together and painted. So I have plenty of plastic to last me for a while. And the missus said I need to work through these before I spend more money on more plastic. Which is fair. Because these things aren't cheap. Okay. But yes, I do have enough to keep me occupied for quite some time. And if I was just doing them to get them tabletop ready, I mean, I could probably get through them much quicker. But, I mean, I'm going a little overboard on the detail on these guys. So yeah, this is why it takes me so long. Thank you. I've been spending way too much time painting little plastic men. Yeah, I'm, keep trying to convince the missus to paint minis with me. I bought her a emulator tank. Yes, I do play the video game too, which is why I started putting these stupid things together again. There's a couple of clips on my TikTok of me playing the game. And when I'm too tired to paint, I will play video games because I do not want to mess up painting one of these things because I don't want to have to take the time stripping it to repaint it. So if I'm too tired to paint, I'll play Space Marine 2 or some Monster Hunter or something else. Like in group, are you talking like faction, like Dark Angels, Space Marines, Ultramarines, Black Templars? I mean, they all have their cool bits of lore. Faction. I'm currently doing a Black Templar army, so right now they're kind of my favorite. So, just because they're like, we don't like your stupid rule book, and we're going to do what we want to do. Uh, so that's why I like the Templars. Uh, and then of course all the memes from Dark Angels. Oh, their minis definitely look the best. But like all the memes of the lion coming back and him getting on his brother Bobby about you did what with what? But yeah, I I find some of the lore entertaining. Some of it's like, wow, that's really dark. I didn't need to know that. But it is an interesting universe, to say the least. But, after, having been a Marine in real life, I have kind of a messed up sense of humor. So the whole that's not quite right thing in 40K just works for me. And I need some more paint. Where are we at in space and time? 8 o'clock? Yeah. So I'm probably not going to go as late as I normally do with painting tonight, because I am tired and not completely exhausted like I have been. But I am training a new person at work, so we're getting more in depth on what they need to do for the job, so I have to be able to teach properly tomorrow. Not that I have a complex job, but it is hard work. And lets me buy little plastic army men. Trying to make sure I get paint into all these little nooks and crannies real good, so I can't see any of the gray primer when I get done with these guys. But this thing is definitely going to take a while. And yeah, some of the pipes in there I am intentionally leaving gray because I'm going to cover them with white and then do a contrast paint over them. Just kind of experimenting with some stuff to see if I can get like something that looks like glowing tubes going into the sarcophagus. Little red, little blue, maybe some green. But yeah, this Brutalis is definitely going to be my biggest challenge for my new army. I said before, I used to play during 5th edition. I have a Necron army that's all like super old original Games Workshop models. Some of them are metal. Some of the old original monoliths with the big green crystal on top. So they're cool minis. They're just kind of outdated at this point. And lots of warriors. Because that's all I could afford at the time because I was poor. And now that I've started this again, I'm poor again. Because plastic is expensive. Trying to make sure I've got everything covered. There's some weird little spots that I can't seem to get paint on very well. And apparently, everybody that I follow on Twitch is going live tonight. Ugh. Popping my neck. Hunched over this mini for too long. Oh, I'm sorry, Kiana. I missed your heart when you sent it. I appreciate that. TikTok doesn't do a very good job of, notifying when people do special things. Get a little annoyed at that. I always feel bad, especially somebody, sends a gift in chat and then you don't see it, and then they leave and you can't properly thank them for it. No, maybe I'm weird, but that annoys me. Oh, and I shouldn't have glued those things on. That's going to be a pain to paint those, but it'll be alright. It's like I glued these engine covers on and probably shouldn't have. But it'll be alright. We'll get it figured out. Get everything painted. Eventually, 17 years later, still working on the same dreadnought. But I haven't been working on this one too long. But this is definitely a mini I wish I could afford an airbrush for. Because it's just so big. It's such a big mini. But you gotta work with what you got. Sorry, I need to get a drink. My mouth is getting a little dry. I should be drinking water, but energy drinks taste better. And I have to stay awake for this live. And I'm trying not to unnecessarily paint things that don't need to be painted. I know some of this on the side will get covered up. All of it. But, you know, I do sub-assemblies while painting just because there's lots of little details that I like to make sure that I get painted. So I'll put it together in chunks and then take it apart. Like I'll use a bunch of sticky tack to hold the mini together while I'm putting it together the first time. Just to make sure I've got all the pieces in the right spot. And then break it down into smaller sections while painting. That way I can get into all the little fine details everywhere. Because when you fully assemble a lot of the minis, like back here, there's lots of spots that it's going to be very hard for me to do any detail painting in. But I'll make it work. But since right now we're just doing our like base coat, it's fine if I don't get all the paint everywhere I need it initially. But I do need more paint. And I'm going to end up saying that a lot too. I need more paint. I need more paint. Because this thing is massive. Yep, working on the old Brutalis dreadnought. A buddy of mine finally convinced me to get it out of the box and put it together, and I'm finally able to start painting it. And since I've started painting it, TikTok keeps community guidelining my videos every time I post pictures of it. I'm like, really? Everybody posts pictures of like their minis that they're working on, including dreadnoughts. Why do you keep community guidelining me for a chunk of plastic? I hope so, but I don't know. This is my first Space Marine army. I had an old Necron army years ago, which I still have it. But Necrons, like if you only have like just basic units, are not very strong on the tabletop. So I'm hoping these Black Templars will fare a little bit better. I have no idea. When I played in 5th edition, there were no factions. You just had Necrons. Like, so many things have changed since I played the tabletop. And the Space Marine 2 video game got me back into the hobby, and now I have to paint a new army. So that's what we're working on right now. Let's see. Love the Necrons. Have my own, but I'm selling them to get Magic card deck. Oh, don't. Just save up and buy the magic cards separate. They're not that expensive. I mean, I know you can get money for your Necrons, but just I implore you to hold on to your minis, even if you don't play with them anymore. I said magic cards aren't that expensive, and I know you can buy individual cards to build a super cool, super effective deck, but yeah. When it comes to games, Warhammer 40k better than Magic the Gathering any day. I'm sorry, not sorry. Like, of all the times that I've moved and switched hobbies, uh, uh, the one that I've kept track of, like, I made sure that I've kept track of all of my minis. My magic cards, like, I started playing Magic the Gathering in Ice Age back in the 90s. I have no idea where any of my magic cards are. They are lost in a box somewhere or got thrown out at some point. No idea. My Necrons that I started playing in the early 2000s, still have them. And they're the old ones with the green plastic rods. I have, oh, like 6 Necron Destroyers, a Necron Destroyer Lord, 40 some odd warriors, I think. Um, all the old original green rod models. And, I've thought about selling them before. I actually did try and sell them before. Nobody bought them. I'm so glad that I still have them. Um, I've got 3 of the original monoliths with the green crystals. One of them still brand new in the box, never put it together. No. The old metal tomb spiders, have some of those. Hold on to that stuff. That's my recommendation. Especially if you're just, I'm going to trade it in for magic cards. No. Keep the Warhammer minis. But that's my personal opinion. I'm biased. I mean, I know Warhammer 40k has changed a lot since I played back in 5th edition. But, I mean, Magic, I couldn't even imagine how to start playing again. All the rules are so different and seem confusing. With like commander deck or whatever, I don't understand it. I'm sure if I went down to the local game store and told somebody, teach me, they'd be more than happy to. But little slips of cardboard with pretty pictures on them lack in comparison to a fully painted mini. Yeah, like I said, years ago when I played, it's like, okay, you get a bunch of lands out, then you turn the land sideways because you're using their magical power to cast your spells. It's just, I don't know. I think it's the commander thing that I don't get. It's like you have, this named character for your army that you have to base your army around or your deck around or whatever. I don't know. It used to be, okay, you have a 20-sided die, that's your hit points. Once your hit points are gone, as the player, you're done. And I played with some guys that had some absolutely brutal decks. Like one turn did like because uh I couldn't keep his stuff off the board. He was basically just, you know, messing with me because he knew I was a new player and couldn't do much against him. And one round did like over 100 damage directly to me and wiped my board clean. Like, eh. Although I did have a super annoying red-green weenie deck back in the day. Had all sorts of things that would drop out 1/1 creatures. And then I guess it would. And I've been told, because I explained this at the local game store, that I used to do this. I've been told that it's still a pretty good tactic with the card that I had for a commander deck. The commander would have been the Keldon Warlord, because the Keldon Warlord has a power and toughness equal to all the creatures that you have under your control. And with constant 1/1 creatures being generated all over the board, that thing got stupid powerful, stupid fast. And it would annoy people when I smacked them with it. Magic is updated like crazy now. There's apps for health, not as crazy as it used to be. I don't know, I think the other thing that kind of annoys me about Magic, it's still, I'm sure it's still a fun game, but it does crossovers with everything. Like, I could see some Magic the Gathering crossing over with like Lord of the Rings or something, but like Marvel and League of Legends or whatever else it's crossed over with at this point, it's all. Not saying Games Workshop is innocent of money grabs, but Wizards of the Coast, Magic, Hasbro is nothing but a money grab anymore. Like I said, I know Games Workshop is no different in that regard, because they like overcharging for their plastic and releasing new minis every once in a while. I understand. Fortunately, I wasn't playing at the time, but I've gone back and listened to like some of the horror stories about the Primaris Marines being added to 40K and people having to rebuy entire armies just to have them still be relevant. That's a fun thing. Now Fallout series is in there. Crossovers give customization. I understand it gives more customization, but it loses its identity. I mean, it's, Magic the Gathering is supposed to be like Dungeons and Dragons card game. What does, power armor have to do with Dungeons and Dragons? I mean, I understand there's artificers and stuff now in 5th edition, but I just, maybe I'm just old and I don't get it anymore. I don't know what it is. But yeah, I just, I think Magic has lost its unique identity in the tabletop or collectible card game community, and it's now just kind of watered down. Whatever the latest thing is, oh, we'll add that to our card game. And yes, I was quoting The Simpsons. I used to be it, and then it changed, and now I don't know what it is anymore. But everyone is entitled to their own fun in their own way. Just because I have my opinions on it doesn't mean I'm right, and because you have your opinions on it doesn't mean you're right. We just have our own individual feelings about it. But I have enough expensive hobbies, so getting back into Magic the Gathering isn't going to happen. This is going to take forever. I will be using like a larger brush on some of the other parts. It's just I know the sarcophagus and cockpit area, whatever you want to call it, is very small and has a lot of detail in it. Uh, so I'm trying to be more careful and use a smaller brush. But like get that spray can. No. I mean, I did use spray can primer on it. But for the base coat, I'm doing, everything by hand. One of these days, I will probably look into getting an airbrush. It's just not in the cards right now. Got too many other expenses. Why? Because I'm an overgrown child. Planning a major vacation trip this year to the new Universal Park. So that is an expensive thing. I hear people sneaking in behind me, even with my headset on. Hi, honey.
Hi. Bruce wants his couch.
Huh?
Bruce wants his couch.
Oh, I'm sure he does. Thank you. I get hot tamales now. I'll try not to rattle them too loud.
You can dump them out in a bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. No.
Excited puppy has entered the
Get
chat.
out of here, both of you. Go on. We'll go play.
Love you.
Love you too. Come on. Come on, crazy puppy.
Got to make sure I continue to paint inside the camera frame so everybody can see me painting a giant plastic model with a brush with 3 hairs on it. Oh, man. But at least the base is dried enough that when I need a break from this, I can do the dry brushing on the base. To get that finished up, and then I can start painting the legs. Always remember, kids, thin your paints. And use a wet palette. Keeps your paint workable much, much longer. And if you can't buy one, they are easy to make. When I started painting minis again, I made a wet palette with some parchment paper, some paper towels, and a food prep container. used that for quite a while, and then finally got around to getting an actual nice wet palette. Not required, but definitely one of those things that helps when painting minis. So I do feel bad, like, painting these things black, of course, painting black Templars, everything's going to be black. Like, by putting the paint on, I'm hiding all the details and then making you guys wait till later on when I start putting the color on the mini for all the details to start popping out again. But then again, that's one of the cool parts of painting minis, especially if you're doing like a dark colored army. Like, as you're painting, all the cool little extra fancy details popping out when you start adding your color. Trying to be very careful that I don't leave a bunch of brush streaks in the paint. Is why you want to make sure you got your paint nice and thin down to avoid lots of them. But the thing that would help even more with that is an airbrush. But anyway. But I have to keep things moving on TikTok. Otherwise, TikTok gets cranky with me and says, oh, well, you must have taken a break or disappeared or something. And then it'll pause my live stream. So, got to keep turning the mini around on camera. Even though I'm moving my head and talking the whole time. It's already done it to me once tonight. Hopefully it doesn't community guideline me again for showing off my plastic soldiers. I will be bitter about that every time it happens. Like, your post goes against our community guidelines. What goes about against community guidelines? It is a plastic soldier. Then I have to appeal it and hope the video doesn't get like super shadow banned on the For You page. Oh, it's so stupid. I wish TikTok wouldn't do that, but it is what it is. It's their platform. You got to deal with their rules. Even though they don't tell you what rule you broke. Okay. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have painted that section black. It's alright. We're making it up as we go along. 'Cause I'll probably go back and paint this little square area Corax white. Still trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to paint this thing. But that's part of the fun of painting it, is you just make it up as you go along. Welcome back, Horde. I hope you browsed through many entertaining other TikTok channels before coming back. Or if you didn't mean to leave and come back, I'm sorry you're having trouble with your internet. Well, doing some kill team at the local game store tomorrow. Thank you for the likes. I'm in way too many different Discord channels. Oh man, we're getting there. But I am probably going to take a break from painting this. This is a lot. But once this, section of it's done, because this is like the big centerpiece section of it, so it's like you got to take, spend a lot of extra time on it. To make sure it all looks good. Yeah, I'll take a break in a little bit. I'm not quite ready to yet. I'm not completely cross-eyed at this point. But I'm getting there. And just for good measure, color that in. I know I probably won't be able to see it, but just in case. I'm going to spend some extra time cleaning this brush out later. It is getting frazzled. Almost done with the first base coat. It's just so much stuff to paint on here. And I'm glad I have several minis to go through in this process, because it gives me breaks from like bigger projects like this, or doing like the same guys over and over again, by doing working on a whole army. So it's like, okay, I'm tired of painting Space Marines for a while, so I'll move on to a vehicle. Okay, that vehicle took a long time. Let's get back to like the Space Marines. Or okay, let's do a particular character. So that is one of the things I really like about the hobby, is all the variety of characters that you have. Um, and then, of course, I am fortunate enough to live relatively close to an actual Games Workshop store. So I do go and pick up the mini of the month when it comes available. So if I ever need like a complete and total break, thank you for the follow. User 857-819-535-9197. Sorry, if you have a name like that, I'm going to read it out because I'm a dork. So if I ever need like a real break from painting the army, which is, why sure I don't have wet paint on my hands, which is why when like a local game store does a painting competition, I'll join it and I'll, do something to change it up. Or like this is the mini of the month from a couple months ago. Stinging Scorpion, Eldari, whatever you want to call it, or Striking Scorpion, whatever it's called. So if I ever need a break from putting together and painting Space Marines, I have those options. I've got some Kriegsmen. I've got some Skaven minis to put together and paint. Just, gives me some variety and some options to paint other things from time to time. Thank you for the likes. Much appreciated. Helps draw more people in when you folks like the stream. Where am I from? I am smack dab in the middle of the United States in Kansas. Where the geography is flatter than a pancake and we get tornadoes from time to time. I live in the epitome of flyover country, as it's so often referred to. Yeah, I mean, when that happens, at least you know where he went, or she. You can just watch your dog go to the neighbors, next town over. Saskatchewan, eh? Yeah. Ootin' a bootin' and a cough, some BS. We play hockey up here, don't you know? Moose Jaw. My dad is a native Canadian, dual citizen. I think he grew up, in Kamloops, up in Canada. No idea where that's at. But I do occasionally get funny looks when I'll be online and like people ask, well, where'd you grow up? Well, I grew up in Ottawa. No, Ottawa, Kansas. It's this teeny tiny podunk little town in Kansas that nobody really knows about. But when you say Ottawa, people think, oh, that's the capital of Canada. Like, nope. Teeny tiny town in Kansas. So it was very confusing a couple years ago when they're having the trucker protest in Ottawa, and like, where are they going to have a trucker protest in? Oh, Canada. Not Kansas. As I nonchalantly mention your national anthem, Oh Canada. Ask the old South Park question. So does your top of your head flop around when you talk? And doesn't yours? I mean, something flops around. Usually my jaw. Alright. Yeah, I need to take a break from painting this because I am absolutely destroying this brush and I need to give it a good wash before I keep painting with it. Hey guy. Sup, buddy? I don't know what that's a reference to. It might be a South Park thing as well. I don't know. I never really watched too much South Park. I just know every time they depicted Canadians, the tops of their heads flopped around and it was strange. Yeah, I figured as much. I don't know, I know it was super popular when I was growing up, and everybody's like, oh, did you see the new South Park? And it's like, you see what they did to Kenny this week? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, number one, I was poor and I didn't have cable, so I couldn't really watch it. And then it was, kind of fell into the realm of, too stupid to watch. And I know that kind of sounds like blasphemy to some people, but I have a list of movies that are too stupid to watch and I've never watched, like Dumb and Dumber or Dumb and Dumber or whatever it's called. Haven't seen either one of those movies. Never watched them. Just too stupid. But at the same time, I've watched like Balls of Fury and Dodgeball, which are probably even dumber than Dumb and Dumber. And I think Joe Dirt is hilarious. Mostly because I can empathize with him because, I can't grow a full beard. It just grows in all white trashy like that. What about I? One second. Well, your second is up. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've frazzled that brush. This one will have to be replaced, which is fine. I have more paint brushes, even this size. Okay. Time to do something a little less intensive on paying attention to it. But we are making some decent progress on this thing. I am going to have to do like some touch-up spots and like a second coat in some places, but getting there. But we're going to move back down to the legs, or I guess the terrain, I should say. Idiocracy. I haven't watched it, but I'm going to. Just so I can compare it to, current events. Just because I want to see how accurate it was, or is. Yeah. Like, I've seen, like, parts of it. I haven't watched it all the way through. Like I said, I need to. Because I find it amusing that when they were making that movie, they didn't think it was going to turn into a documentary for modern events. Okay. Let's get this base finished up. Or the painting on the base, because there's still going to be lots more terrain bits and bobs to do at a later date. But get our dry brush ready. Let's go over this with some Steel Legion drab. Yeah, that was hilarious. They're like, oh, we want to use this no-name shoe brand because they're stupid and ugly and, they're never going to catch on. And now look. They're like a super popular shoe brand and everybody wears the stupid things. Not everybody, because I refuse to. I mean, I'm sure you could still use your old Dread from Assault on Blackreach. It just probably won't have as good as stats. I don't know how they changed all those rules since I haven't, I've dabbled in a couple of games since I played in 5th edition, just to try and relearn the rules in 10th. But as for extensive play, I have not done. Mostly because I have like a bunch of super old Necrons that get tabled super fast. It's annoying. And I think the thing that I'm the most annoyed about is one of the rule changes they made to the tomb spiders, which is now canoptic spiders or something like that. They used to like every turn you could just like poop out another scarab swarm with them. And now they're not attached to the scarab swarms anymore, and you can only use them to revive scarabs. It's like, really? You can't just generate them anymore? That's dumb. That was one of my favorite rules. Favorite abilities that the tomb spiders had. But now they don't have it anymore. Yeah, I said, I'm so far out of the loop on other armies and rules and whatnot that I don't know what's been lost. But orcs had some of the most like ridiculous, hilarious rules, like the jump or the weird boys that could like blow themselves up. Oh, I'm sure, but I mean that's one of the fun things about tabletop games. You know, if you find something that's broken, and as long as you're not being an asshole with it, it's just one of the unique things about the game. Have fun with it every once in a while, but don't just use it to torment other players. Although I will say probably the other uh, 5th edition like rule or mechanic that I miss is scatter dice. Like if you're launching an artillery assault, there should be a chance that you miss and it just goes off into some weird direction. Neither do I didn't play a lot during 5th edition, mostly because the closest place to play was like an hour and a half drive, maybe 2, away from where I was living at the time, so it wasn't the easiest to get down there to play. And like even now that I'm trying to get back into it, I want to spend all my time, painting my minis, so I don't get to play a lot. But there we go. There's some nice rocky finished terrain there. I think we got some good transition in color. Got some, medium spots, dark spots, light spots. I think that'll look cool. And eventually get the grass and whatnot. I think that's the only thing I've been able to, successfully do repeatedly is, make my terrain look good. Fortunately, where I'm at now, we have a couple of game stores here in town, and then 30 minutes away we've got even more game stores, and then an hour away we've got even more game stores. Fortunately, tabletop gaming is fairly popular around me, so I have the opportunity to play. I just you know, don't have the minis finished to play. I mean, unless I use my Necrons, which I don't want to do. I want to get my Templars done so I can play my Templars. Hopefully before the end of the edition, and I have to buy a new rulebook. Even though I know I don't need to buy a new rulebook, because the rulebook is free online to learn how to play this, that, and the other. It's just one of those things. I am the same way. I am not going to field a mob of gray plastic on the table. Even if I haven't finished putting them together yet, they will be painted. I have a couple of Necrons that they're painted. They're just missing their arms and their gun because I never cut them off the sprue and painted them. But their bodies and bases are painted and based. I guess some of them don't have a finished base, but the mini on the base is painted. Every single one. Because I refuse to put unpainted minis on the table. Anyway, I think that's probably going to be a good stopping point for the night. I want to thank everybody for coming by and liking the live and hanging out and chatting and having a good time. But I have an early day at work tomorrow. Normally I'll go till like 10 o'clock, but because I'm training a new guy, I have to be there super early so I can, get him locked into where he needs to be. And you're very welcome. I mean, I'm the one who needs to be thanking everybody for coming by and watching the stream. I appreciate all the likes. Normally, I do my painting and hobby time on Tuesdays and Thursdays. This is a weird week. Our DM had something come up tonight. So normally I'm playing D&D on Monday nights. Tonight's kind of a special thing. We're supposed to make up the session later in the week. So normally Monday nights are D&D, 7:30 to 10 p.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7 to 10 p.m. I'm painting, playing video games, or doing minis or other hobby stuff. So I hope to catch you guys on next time. Go ahead and like and follow. Check out some of my other videos on my TikTok. Got the same username on Twitch and YouTube if you want to check me out over there. YouTube is where you can find all of our D&D sessions. But again, thanks for stopping in. Hope to see you guys next time, and everybody have a good night.